that, let's jump right in to an administrative process that can be used in a situation like this to get yourself out of it, or at least to defend yourself in a proper way. So let's, without further ado, have a review. Okay, so this is the script. I love the scripts. I love scripts for non-commercial travelers scripts, because when a traveler gets pulled over for an alleged commercial traffic infraction, there's some things that you want to do right off the bat. First, have a recording device and film everything. When you see the lights come on behind you, and as you are pulling over, roll your windows down to air out your car, then roll them back up as you pull over. Right off the bat, when you are pulled over, you are under arrest. Have a recording device and film everything. So now we're getting your frame of mind, put in. The act of being stopped from pursuing your life, liberty, and happiness is an arrest. The cop will not tell you you are under arrest, and he will not read you your Miranda rights, because once you know you have been arrested, most people won't volunteer the information, and he can manipulate to accuse you of a crime. When he fails to read your Miranda rights as soon as he approaches, he is already accused you of crime. He fails to read your Miranda rights as he approaches your window. He is already committing a crime himself, pursuant to People versus Saccone and Matthews versus the United States. Once an investigation officer has probable cause to believe that the person confronted has committed an offense, the officer cannot be expected to permit the suspect to leave his presence. At that point, the interrogation becomes custodial, and the suspect must be warned of his rights. When you come to a stop, lock all your doors and only crack your window about 2 inches. Do not open any other windows. This prevents a cross breeze, which the officer can use to say he smells pot or booze or whatever accusation he makes. Do not answer any of his questions. If he's friendly, do not be duped. Engage in chit-chat. He is there to extort you. And that's what happened in the example we just saw today. It was chit-chat. We can call it arguing, but it was chit-chatting it up. Right? He has already broken his oath of office pursuant to Article 6, Clause 2 and 3 of the Constitution, and he has illegally detained you without Mirandizing you. He is there to rob you, literally. He is a thug displaying a deadly weapon on his hip, and he can lawfully and under threat of violence and murder force you to comply to his every whim. When a cop pulls over a traveler who has not committed any crimes, he is immediately liable for damages pursuant to the following: 18 U.S. Code 241, which is conspiracy against rights; U.S. Code 1983, civil action for deprivation of rights; U.S. Code of 1985, conspiracy to interfere with civil rights; U.S. Code 1986, action for neglect to prevent; and finally, 18 U.S. Code 2384, which is seditious conspiracy. Wow. So what do you do? Now that you know that, how are you supposed to interact with these officers? Let's get down and into it. Now, here's more codes. Traffic with respect to patronage, slavery, and volunteer. Okay, so let's get into the script itself. Okay, first off, you never ask a question you don't already know the answer to. I do this all the time in my classes. I ask a question I already know the answer to. I also do that with my staff. I ask them a question I already know the answer to. You have to understand what you are asking. Don't just recite from memory what you should say. Understand it. We really emphasize this here at the Academy. And it is best to have these points memorized so you look like you know what you are doing. You want the officer to understand that you know your rights and you comprehend what you are standing for, and not that you are just reading off of a piece of paper. They are not going to take you seriously, but it still works to be reading it if you have to, which I totally agree. I'm fully in favor of scripts. Scripts make it perfect, and you're recording yourself reading the script. It's an amazing administrative process. You can enter in that recording into the record. I mean, why not read a script? Why not? So here we go. We're going to read the script, okay? Imagine you're this guy. You just got pulled over on your golf cart. You're in front of your house. Your Vietnamese wife came out and she's yelling at the officer, or about to yell, I should say. And instead of arguing in chit chat, you bring out this script and you say, "Officer, could I get your name and badge number, please?" And the officer, "Are you recording? And is your video and audio equipment properly working?" Officer might say yes or no. "Officer, what is your emergency? Is there something I can assist you with?" You don't want to assume you're doing anything wrong, even if you're driving a golf cart on a public highway. "Officer, badge number. Can any of the information you are demanding from me be used against me in a court of law or be used to incriminate me in any way?" Remember, he did not Mirandize you. You are under arrest. But this is basically telling him that you are aware that he should have already read you your Miranda rights. If the officer says yes or simply continues asking you for driver's license and registration and proof of insurance, which is the same as saying you must comply and give him what he is asking for, you can say this. A lot of you are at this point, right? Is you're mentally prepared. We watched the last video where the guy came up. Remember, he smashed the window of the guy who was not having the right registration on his vehicle and whatnot. And the first thing the cop was talking to him about, and pretty much the whole 20 minutes of the video was about this section right here. The officer asking for his driver's license, registration, and proof of insurance. And this back and forth happened between this young man and the officer to where they broke his window, cuffed him, and towed his vehicle, right? This is where your state of mind has to get in, because this is where the mental chess game really starts to play, okay? Your mental chess game. You say, "Officer, badge number, are you asserting that the statute can compel me to waive a fundamental protected right to comply with your demand?" Interesting first start. Let's continue. "Officer, badge number, are you stopping me for a civil infraction or an alleged criminal offense?" If he says criminal and he cites something from a traffic code, then we've got him for incompetence. That's kind of what Elizabeth was saying. There was incompetency on both sides of the golf cart situation. He doesn't know that the law defines the allegation he made in a civil infraction. He has illegally stopped you without a warrant for a civil infraction, which means he didn't have probable cause or reasonable suspicion, because those only attach to crimes. This is all about choosing a foundation you can build on to get them to admit certain things, rather than ask him about probable cause, which he will say he has. First, determine whether or not he understands how probable cause is obtained. In other words, any citation for a traffic violation is a civil infraction, not a crime. If he says he has stopped you for a crime, then he must have probable cause for the crime you committed, are committing, or about to commit. And then that's how you trap them. If he says he stopped you for a crime, then you can say, officer badge number, what facts or information are you alleging gave you probable cause to stop and accost me? Then he'll give an answer in which you reply, officer badge number, do you have properly signed and issued warrant to search me or my property? If he says he has a warrant, ask to see it. If he has a warrant, he has to furnish it within a reasonable amount of time after he throws you into the cage, which they usually do without taking you before a magistrate first, which is lawfully required. No warrant, then you continue. So this is what the young man went through last time. I read this part of the script. You need a warrant to search the vehicle, take you out of the vehicle. I mean, think about it. Imagine a police officer came to your house, you're having dinner with your family, knocked down your front door, and arrested you without a warrant. Your house is your personal property. Your car is your personal property. You and your body are your personal property. There needs to be a warrant. Officer badge number, for the record, I am not operating in a for-hire capacity by engaging in any form of transportation or commercial use of the highway. Officer badge number, please acknowledge that you have been so informed. Keep repeating the question until he answers. It's what they do. This is important because he'll keep you there even though he has no reason to do so, as he fishes for something to charge you with. So once again, officer badge numbers, please acknowledge that you have been so informed. Well, I need to see your license and proof of insurance. Officer badge number, please acknowledge that you have been so informed. Informed of what? That for the record, I am not operating in a for-hire capacity by engaging in any form of transportation or commercial use of the highways. This is the battle of the wits and your consistency. This section right here, if you could just have this in one section in your mind, and you can get the officer to acknowledge that he has been so informed, you now gave him notice. You now gave him notice. And now it's recorded properly for your administrative record. So then what I do is now that I have that on record, what am I going to do? I'm going to go back to the United States codes that I just mentioned earlier, and then mention that in my administrative record, my administrative process. And then I'm going to put that on the public record, which is the recording, my administrative process of the U.S. codes, and bada boom, bada bing, and a bunch of other stuff. Officer badge numbers. Am I under custodial arrest? If I am not under custodial arrest, am I free to go? Can't be the same answer here. Officer badge number. What articulable probable cause leads you to believe that I have committed a crime, am committing a crime, or am about to commit a crime that authorizes you to stop and detain or arrest me? Now you're adding to the administrative process because now he has to articulate the reasoning. Now we're going to get into more details, okay? This is where you'll come into play with your ens legis. But for the record, officer badge number, in order to protect my rights and not waive any by error or accident, I wish to clarify my legal understanding of the situation. What you're doing is you're now identifying the reason why you're being pulled over, okay? Why he's putting you under arrest. And you're putting it on the record to clarify for your legal understanding. You said, and this is if he says, if in the previous one, you're not free to leave. Am I free to go? No, you're not free to go. I need to see your license and registration and proof of insurance. So in order then, officer, to protect my rights and not waive any by error or accident, I wish to clarify my legal understanding of the situation. You said I'm not free to go. So I must conclude that I am under an arrest and not simply under an investigative detention. Therefore, I'm invoking all of my fundamentally protected rights, including my right to remain silent and my right to assistance of counsel. From this point forward, I do not consent to providing you with any information or documents that can be used against me in a court of law or possibly incriminate me. So please do not ask me to produce anything and give it to you. From this point forward, please do not ask me to answer any questions or perform any tests relating to any matter whatsoever without my attorney present. And don't ever get in an attorney in a traffic court, and do not represent yourself. You are there by special appearance, the sui juris. This is by one's own right, or just say, I'm here today prosecuting this case. Never agree that you are representing yourself, because you would be representing your commercial straw man, the legal name, and the all caps name. Officer, badge number, do you intend to harm, injure, or punish me by any method of assault, arrest, and or incarceration because I have invoked my fundamental constitutional protected rights? After you read that, can you imagine the officer saying, get out of the vehicle, put your hands behind your back, do as I said, just like with the guy we watched yesterday, right? They broke his window, right? They were going to forcibly take him out. He's like, if you don't get out in the next 3 seconds, there's going to be a real big problem. Officer, badge number, do you intend to harm, injure, or punish me by any method of assault, arrest, and or incarceration because I have invoked my fundamental constitutional protected rights? Yes, I do intend. You need to get out of the vehicle, sir. You need to put your hands behind the back. I'm going to break your window. Officer may now be saying that the law requires you to produce documents. This is an intimidation. Invoking your fundamental rights cannot be converted into a crime. So if they charge you falsely for obstruction, you get to sue their pants off, because what they did was just punish you for invoking your rights. For the record, officer, badge number, no law is valid if it requires me in any way to waive any unalienable protected rights in order to exercise any other right or alleged privilege. And no law can convert the free exercise of any right into a crime. I have repeatedly informed you that I choose not to waive any of my fundamental or constitutionally protected rights. So I ask you once again, officer, badge number, do you intend to harm, injure, steal my property, or otherwise punish me for invoking my fundamentally constitutionally protected rights? This is a powerful administrative process. It is putting you in control of the situation. So now the officer does what? He says, all right, I'm going to give you 10 seconds, just like that kid the other day. He's like, I'm going to break your window. I'm going to pull you out of your car. I'm going to tow your vehicle. I'm going to give you a ticket. I'm going to bring you to jail. Officer, badge number, due to your attitude, demeanor, and your continuous threats to falsify charges and commit acts of violence against me and my property while displaying deadly weapon, I feel physically threatened and in fear for my life. I demand that you cease and desist and that you get a supervisor here immediately. I do not consent to any of your actions, the use of force against me or my property, or to being forced to exit my car for any purpose, especially so that you may attempt to steal my property and or assault, injure, or kill me. This is telling the officer exactly what you expect him to do. And it is now part of the official record. You will be showing that all you did was invoke your rights and all he could do was threaten you with violence. Officer badge number, you are fully aware that I have already invoked my rights to remain silent and my right to assistance to counsel. Do you intend to continue in your unlawful efforts to violate my rights? Just keep repeating this like a skipping record. Invoke your rights and stand on your rights. You better get out of that car. I smell the pot on you. Have you been smoking the reefer? Do you even know what you're saying? Oh, I'll call your mama. Oh, don't get mama involved. That almost gets me every time. Officer badge number, you are fully aware that I have already invoked my rights to remain silent and my right to assistance to counsel. Do you intend to continue in your lawful efforts to violate my rights? Once again, repeat, repeat, repeat. Then, officer badge number, is my belief that the information you were demanding may possibly be used against me in the court of law or in an attempt to incriminate me. And if that is so, then upon the advice of legal counsel, I must respectfully decline to provide you with any information or evidence that possibly can or would be used against me for those purposes. This is if the officer keeps on saying, you better give me that license, proof of insurance, and registration, because I want jurisdiction over you now. Now. You have the right not to provide anything to them, so don't. Officer badge number, I am asking you again, do you intend to continue to deny me my right and to falsely imprison me, or am I free to go? 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 If the officer then tries to get you out of the car with false allegations, such as saying he smells the pot, the devil's lettuce, immediately you say, officer badge number, your statement is patently false and an outright lie. Are you now trying to fabricate probable cause by making false statements into the record and false allegations against me? Or an alternative response would be, I object, officer, due to your falsified statement pursuant to 18 U.S.C. 1001, false statements and concealment. I demand that you cease and desist from any further actions of federal crimes of conspiracy against my unalienable constitutional secured liberty. And finally, pursuant to Article 6, Clause 2, this is a continuation of the previous sentence. Of course. Clause 2 of the Supreme Court, supreme law of the land, and I am also to demand that you uphold your fiduciary duty as a peace officer to the public by allowing me to exercise and enjoy my natural liberty to travel the land which the Supreme Court ruled is constitutionally protected pursuant to Shapiro versus Thompson. Good to know is that your car or automobile is a consumer good. Under UCC 9-102A, Section 23, which says consumer goods means goods that are used or bought for the use primarily for personal, family, or household purposes. So are they going to require you to register your microwave oven and your sofa next? If you are not a commercial driver, you are neither a driver nor you are operating a motor vehicle. He wants you to sign his debt instrument. This is his ticket. You can tell him you do not want to enter into contract with him and you are not signing anything. Note, a flesh and blood man or woman does not write a signature. That is what the straw man does. You're the flesh and blood man or woman that gives an autograph. If he persists, is acting violent, or is for any reason you are afraid for your life and safety, give your autograph under duress, like this. Do not underline or emphasis only. You can write under protest, with prejudice, without acceptance, or necessity of all the above. Under duress, with prejudice, never the all caps straw man, always use upper and lowercase letters. The definition of duress means unlawful pressure exerted upon a person for the coercion that person to perform an act that he or she ordinarily would not perform. You need to be prepared. You need to know your lawful rights. It's not difficult to read a script. It's difficult to have the courage to stick to the script and to not waver or falter. It's difficult. It is more difficult for a lion to find its roar, for him to be heard, it more than the might and power in his paws. You just need to find the courage to speak and to defend and stand on your constitutionally protected rights. Way to do that through Creditor Academy is why we have our courses, why we focus so much on your history of your sovereignty, how we got into the mess in the first place. You need to discover the foundations of your sovereignty, your legal identity, and how the system views you. If you know how that officer views you in their system, you'll start to understand why they're trying to get you to commercially contract with them. The next thing you need to do is you need to become private. That's your SPC. That's your status correction. That's your private identification. That's your badge. That's knowing your lawful standing and how to exit the public system and operate under your private authority. After you become private, you then need to know how to operate privately. You need to master how to separate everything out of your straw man's name that they tied to you into commercial entities that you own, but that you control but don't own. That's business trusts and private membership associations. Ownership means liability. We need to make you liability proof. Then finally, senior unlimited credit. Now that you know how to operate privately, you need to access your unlimited credit. We show you how to do that through the credit, through the trade lines and the high limit credit cards, the rewards point systems, and how the credit system actually works, how these credit bureaus, along with the banking cartel, have taken over the world and how to play the game like the Rockefellers do. Everything at the Academy is step by step. But most importantly, we value education. Education comes in many forms. That's why we're a private Montessori association. We believe that being able to utilize all the tactile measurements of learning and to be able to study at your own pace is important for you to retain information. I have invested so much time and resources in the Montessori method, as well as instructional designers and a full software team of 74 full-time staff to put a very comprehensive learning platform together. So then the benefit of your learning is now at your fingertips anytime that you want it. If you want risk-free to see the standard that we have here at Creditor Academy, you can become a master class member where you get Sovereignty 101, the full course of Sovereignty 101, where you get the recordings, the lesson plans, the gamification, the instructional videos, the step-by-steps, the education background of the founding of our nation. Then you get the introductory of Become Private sophomore year. Know what the SPC and the status correction and the private ID and the badge is all about before you commit into doing that process. Then you get the introduction to operate private in junior year. Know what PMAs and business trusts are all about and how they benefit you and how they can really change your life, really, before you commit to learning about it. Then you get the introductory to unlimited credit. Know what credit is, how it works, how we apply and get you unlimited credit here at the Academy. All of this is to show transparency. Me and my team try to show transparency in all the courses. We really stand behind the quality of our work and our efforts. And really, we want to help as many people as possible. This is a mission for the soul of America and to bring back the sovereign republic, one individual at a time. So thank you all for joining me today in this wonderful YouTube. Wow, we covered a lot. This is a long episode. My editor will have a lot to make some shorts on. But I'm your host, Paul Michael. I would love to see you guys in Masterclass. Your Masterclass membership, you get access to me, but as well as not only Masterclass, if you want to join me live every Tuesday and Thursday for the after hours to ask me questions without even becoming a member. Paul Michael, I got a situation. I want to ask you questions. I want to be a part of an amazing community. You can go to live class on the homepage of our website, which is www.creditoracademy.com. And you can hit this join live session on Tuesday or Thursday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every single week. And hey, ask me what you're going through. I want to hear what it is that you're experiencing and how I can help you. You know, we're here to help. That being said, everybody, have a great weekend. It's almost summertime. Take care of yourselves and your loved ones. Bye, YouTube. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Oh, that was amazing.